Welcome to the Loney Show. I'm your host, John Maloney. In this episode, I don't have regulars for reasons out of my procuratory. As for our guest, she's from New Jersey. She's an author, and not just any author, she's an author for the ages.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Veronica Carilla.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you.
Anytime. So, how's life?
How is life? That's a very nice and simple way to start the conversation. Life is great overall. Obviously, as everyone else, we have our moments, our ups and downs, because life brings us circumstances or situations. But overall, I consider myself extremely blessed.
Alright then. And have you been up too much recently?
What is it? I'm sorry.
Have you been up too much recently?
Well, yes, I have a couple of projects or one major project I'm working on besides my regular day job. So it has to do with Costa Rica. I'm building a holistic resort. So you can imagine what a massive undertaking this is, but it's going very well, and I'm able to manage what I do during the daytime, which is a sales leader at a tech company. And during my spare time, I am the CEO and founder of this holistic resort that I'm building in Costa Rica.
So, tell me more about what you do.
All right. So my day-to-day basis, I am a sales leader at a tech company. For most of my professional career, I was in financial sales. I was a leader in the trade desk. Um, Pretty much my whole life I've been in corporate America, and as part of my journey, which you may have read a little bit in the book, I have been doing what I do well, which is being a leader, and at the same time living my purpose.
Ah, okay, cool. So, what inspired you to become?
What inspired me to become an author? Okay, so I I started competing in an international speech competition, and for those who are familiar, Toastmasters, they have international speech competition. So I started participating in a short speech called or titled 140 Miles of Life, which later became the title of my book. So I started competing and I won first place in the first round, first place in the second round. I think I made it to the third round, first place, and then I lost the fourth round. But um, and that was right before I was supposed to also qualify for the internationals. But a few people after I would finish giving a speech, they will come up to me and say, "Hey, have you ever thought about writing a book?" Because the story in itself, the speech, was a short message, a short message of what the main message of the book is about. But I guess the story or the speech resonated with people. It was very personal. It was very intimate. It was about overcoming major obstacles, childhood trauma, religious trauma, accepting oneself, and finding your way through life to make it to your unfinished finish lines. And so people started to just come up to me and ask me, "Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And I never, and at that point, I dismissed it. I was very busy. The reason why the speech was titled 140 miles is because I was competing in Ironman competitions. Ironman is the longest endurance triathlon. So I would work during the day, at a regular financial service firm. I would train for a triathlon, then life, everything else. So there was no time for this. And to answer your question, it was until my grandma died. My grandma died about 5 years ago, and she raised me after my mom died when I was a little girl. So she was everything to me. So when she died, that pretty much just broke my heart wide open. And that was the point when I went in, basically looked within, and started to question what my purpose was. started to question life in general. I lost the person I loved the most. And so it made me really become super reflective. And that's when I started to write the story. And I started to write just for the sake of writing. Um, and then I realized maybe almost halfway through the book that there was a more important story. There was a bigger purpose, and I was being led to it. That's how it came about. And not sure that's clear. Let me know if I should expand a little bit more.
Okay. Have you ever have you thought about writing any other kinds of books?
Yeah, so right now, my book has been released about a year ago. So I've been very concentrated in putting the message out there, and hopefully working on a documentary. A couple of producers reach out, so we are working on that and seeing what the message should be and what we want to film, and for someone to pick it up. So that's what I've been focused on. But for sure, in the future, I am planning to write a second book.
Oh, okay. And have you got a title for the second book?
Not yet. So I'm kind of putting the ideas together, the thoughts together. But since I would say it is a chapter after the, the end of my story from my first book. But it's a beautiful chapter because the book in itself, 140 Miles of Life, a remarkable journey to self-acceptance and love, as the title says it, it is really diving into someone's major childhood trauma, religious trauma, not being accepted for being gay, um, then pretty much leaving any institution, any structure in my life, I find, that made me believe that I was not good enough. And then pretty much redefine who I am, or finding who I truly am outside of any structure, and going through a lot of healing. I met, I think one of the greatest healings in my life occurred when I went to Costa Rica to meet with shamans and participate in ceremonies with shamans, where I had a big transformational experience in my life. And that's what became the main message of the book at the end, is connecting back to who I am, to my heart, and getting to this place of self acceptance and love. So that is in a message for everyone who reads it, right out there. So it's beautiful and everything, but then what happens next is even more beautiful, and that's what I'm living now. My life is really magical because of all the things that happened in my life, and particularly all the healing, all the transformation that you will read about in the book.
Hmm. All right then. And tell me more about your work in corporate America, like in general.
Yeah, so I started primarily, I would say the biggest time of my career was at Bloomberg, the top financial service in the world. And I was there for over 15 years, and I was pretty much part of several departments, several divisions. And I started with pretty much um, learning everything about the financial markets, and I had to really dedicate myself, because I didn't come from a family that had this background that could have built some sort of foundational knowledge for me in regards to the markets or financial assets and everything. So I felt like I had to catch up. And because I spoke French, Spanish, I studied French literature in college. I ended up learning everything, or I would say a lot, about this industry. And I had to pretty much be able to do presentations in 4 different languages: French, Spanish, English, and Portuguese. So that was basically an important time of my career in the financial markets. I think I joined the trading systems division. Then I was part of the equity trading floor, and that was when the time that it was time for me to leave this company. And then I had other amazing opportunities. I worked for Gartner, a top research company. I learned so much. It's super intellectual. the company. Great knowledge, great experience for me. But and now I ended up being hired at LinkedIn as a sales leader about 4 years ago, and I'm now a sales director for a global team.
Incredible. If you could live anywhere in the world, where?
Costa Rica.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Would you? Yeah, cool. Would you rather have an agility of a cat or breathe underwater?
Can you ask the question again?
Would you rather have an agility of a cat or breathe underwater?
The agility of a cat.
Hmm. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, that's a never been asked that question.
All right, cool. If you could try, what decade would you want to live in?
I would want to live in a decade of the greatest philosophers in the world: Aristotle, Socrates, of Jesus Christ, yeah, all the greatest thinkers.
Sweet. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
It will be a beautiful beach, sunny, where there's this beautiful breeze, warm, warm breeze, and nothing much is happening but just stillness.
All right then. How did you spend your last birthday?
My last birthday, how did I spend it? Oh my gosh, I was in France. I almost forgot. I was in France, spending time with a someone dear to me in Alsace. And we spent time in Alsace with her father, and we had a beautiful time in that gorgeous town of Alsace, France.
Ah, fabulous. What has been the longest trip?
The longest trip I have taken, you can say perhaps what felt the longest when I went to Machu Picchu, but it was a group of people who were very athletic. They organized a trip. So we didn't meet at Machu Picchu. They organized a trip to meet like 6 cities before Machu Picchu. And they hire local guys who basically carry pots and whatever else we needed on the donkey. And we hike from city to city nonstop for a whole week until we arrived to Machu Picchu. So we slept on mountains, we slept on the floors, we didn't take showers for a whole week. It was pretty much getting up at 4 something. As soon as the sun came out, we just ate on the mountain. The locals will cook our whatever they cook right from the ground, and we'll just get going nonstop, walk, 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 go to the next mountain, high altitudes, down again, high altitudes, a whole week, no showers, until we arrive to Machu Picchu. And Machu Picchu in itself, that's actually people flying there so that they can climb it up. No, we actually walk miles and miles nonstop for a whole week until we got to Machu Picchu. And then so Machu Picchu was not a big deal at all. We just went up like nothing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Do you travel often?
I do travel, I guess, a few times a year. Lately, because of the project I have going on in Costa Rica, I go there often, like 3 to 4 times a year.
Ah,
I
all
would
right
say
then.
more like 4 or 5 times a year. Yeah.
All right then, sounds good. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
You're gonna find my answer pretty boring, but I don't eat ice cream, so I cannot talk to you about a topping on the ice cream.
Okay,
It's not going to be
that,
a very popular answer.
that's all right. I can understand there are people that don't eat ice cream, but I never thought the day would come.
There we go. Your lucky day.
Yes, the day has come. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
I see myself based in Costa Rica and doing presentations in many different parts in the world about helping expand the consciousness of humanity and also helping um, create more conscious leaders in the world, but based in Costa Rica.
Ah, okay, that's cool. What is your favorite drink?
I don't drink alcohol, so I could only say, give you another of my answers that I like just fresh squeeze juices, natural fruits and vegetables.
Okay then, that sounds good.
Yes, I'm a total believer that that food is medicine and that we what we put in our bodies is super important. So I listen, there's nothing wrong with drinking actually. You know, I would taste it here and there. I just didn't grow up with it. But overall, if you ask me what I love to drink my natural juices.
Okay, I can see that. What's something that was once important but is now becoming less and less relevant?
Good question. You know, I work so hard. You know, having been raised by a single mom who died when I was young, and then I was raised by grandma. Education was instilled as something super important, as a way to achieve so much and move up in life and achieve and become this successful person in corporate America, whatever it is. And that used to be very important. You know, that's how I think it was an important mindset for a long time in my life. So I went for the next best thing and the next best role, the next best thing that I could become within a structure. And I also went to Cornell, to an Ivy League school, to do an MBA. All of the things that define success until, you know, I lost someone really important in my life. And you realize, and there is so much more to life than always achieving, always looking for the next thing to find some sort of validation and idea or illusion of success. And there's nothing wrong with achieving all these things, but there is a point that is an illusion. Then the most important thing that we're looking for is happiness. Happiness, and happiness comes from the inside out. And that's why it's important for us to really look within and figure out what's not making us happy, and whether we do need to just do some more reflection or healing or connect more with ourselves or with this higher power, whatever it is. I think that's you know, and find your purpose. Basically find your purpose, your true purpose. And that's what's important to me now. And the achieving and receiving validation is not important to me at all anymore.
Okay then, I can see that. If the internet suddenly stopped existing, what would you do with the time that you used to spend on it?
I will read. I will read. I will take a book. I think people have stopped being in touch with the simple things. You know, I think when we go to technology so much, and there's nothing wrong with technology, it has given us so much, but there is nothing more beautiful that, you know, sitting in nature and really connecting to nature and being present with what's now, with the moment, with the only thing that is real, which is the now, and being present in your environment, and particularly, as I said, nature, and either just be still and just wonder at the beauty around you, or take a good book and read, or
Yeah,
talk to people, connect with people, look at their eyes, look in their eyes, look, be present to people. People don't talk anymore. How many times have you seen people walking around looking at their phones? They don't know anymore what it means to connect to humanity, to themselves. So they become so disconnected. So for me, no problems. I think technology is definitely very positive. I think we have been absorbed by it, and it is controlling us instead of us using it as a tool.
yeah, absolutely. What is the best way to start the morning?
Meditation.
Fabulous.
Yes. And then exercise. I'm realizing sometimes I sit there and meditate for a while and beautiful connection. But then if I don't move my body and I don't find some sort of exercise, there is an imbalance, because we're body, spirit, soul, and you have to take care of all aspects of you.
Absolutely. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with absolutely no preparation?
I could give a 40-minute presentation with no preparation on sales methodology, negotiations. That's what I do at work. That I think that's one of my superpowers, and that is on the professional side. On my personal side, I can talk a lot about the importance of expanding our consciousness.
Hmm. All right then. Things break. Do you prefer to fix them or replace them?
Ooh, good questions. I prefer replacing them.
Okay, I could see that. When you were, what do you think would be awesome about being older, but isn't as awesome as you thought it would be?
Yes, I thought that my getting older, my independence, and I can do my own things, and absolutely, and I have this big job, I have all this, and you don't realize with the big job, with everything else, comes so much responsibility and and a lot of pressure sometimes, and things you have to hold, and you forget that when you're so young you can just be and play. And sometimes as adults, we forget to play because we have so many responsibilities.
Yeah. Um, would you rather have extra fingers or extra toes?
Goodness. Maybe extra toes so that no one will see. At least I can put shoes on, special shoes on, and no one can see that there is something extra in my body.
Okay. Yeah, and also helps you swim faster around the back end.
That's right.
Yeah. If you could have a never-ending candle that smelled like anything you wanted, what would it be?
There is this like, my goodness, I forgot what it was. I bought a candle in Whole Foods that was just delicious. I cannot remember, but it was almost like kind of like wood smell with citric smell. So I don't have the specific name, but it was just delicious. So maybe I would just say go to Whole Foods and look for a great candle there.
Good, good. What's your favorite type of day?
Spending time with my girlfriend, and I have a lot of fun with her, and just spending time with her, watching a movie, laughing, talking, having deep conversations, reading together is my favorite type of day.
Nice. If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would what would you have a good chance at winning a medal for?
Uh, I will have a good chance at uh, it, talking to my friends and just having these deep conversations.
Oh
We
yeah,
could go on forever. So, I mean, that's more like a girl thing, right? We just want to go deep and talk and discuss. So, I think I probably would win a medal doing that.
yeah, I could certainly see that for sure. If someone came up to you and said, "Hey, do that thing," what would be the first thing that popped into your head?
Do that thing you do. Oh, that I
Yeah,
find my mind is super analytical, and that I find I'm always scrutinizing things and kind of criticizing them, and not always, not not necessarily always in a negative way, but always critiquing, I would say, because I want to make things better. But my friends know that I have a like a x-ray view of things, and I'm able to dissect things quickly and evaluate them.
Ah, okay then. If you have to lose one of your senses, which would you choose to lose?
Oof, that's a tough one. I would probably lose my smell.
Interesting. What food is underappreciated and underrated?
um, Sweet plantains. Sweet
Okay.
plantains. A Latin. I don't know if you ever had it, but it looks like a
I,
banana, and you cook it. I'm sure with any Latin food you probably had it, but yes, it's underappreciated.
well, that sounds delicious.
You have to try it.
Oh, I will. And I'm not too keen on bananas, but for sure, I'll
Uh,
surely give it a go.
you got it. You got it. Fine. Well, you might be married, otherwise I was about to tell you, find a Latin girlfriend that can take you and to a Latin restaurant and invite you to eat sweet plantains.
Ah, yes, that'll be nice. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you, Veronica, talking about your works as an author, working in corporate America, and a lot of other things. It's been
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
any time. And until next time, for more.